Good afternoon. It's August the 1st today and time for this month's garden tour. I am mid-packing, so normally I don't go away in the summer, but I've got a very good excuse for a family wedding to go to in France, so we will be heading off soon, but it's a bit daunting because I'm leaving the garden to fend for itself. So I've been cutting back madly, cutting things for drying. We've had a terribly dry month, ridiculously high temperatures, so I feel that the garden is extremely bare. I've just got one section that is irrigated and the rest just has to fend for itself. Once you start watering, you've got to keep going, and it's not something I'm prepared to do. So I'm just going to monitor things and see which ones are kind of surviving these dry temperatures. Anyway, enjoy the garden tour and yeah, have a great month. And the apple tree is starting to look a little bit scruffy, but who cares? Yeah, it's amazing how all those bits and pieces that you didn't think were going to do anything have actually probably quite enjoyed having the shade of the apple tree. Apple mint doing really well, which is pretty amazing because it doesn't like dry conditions. The only slight concern is whether I'm going to get any grow back from the stems that I have cut. Phlox is looking a little bit on the sad side. Lack of water. The cherry caramel looking a little bit better. And the hanging baskets are looking good. I'll show you those in a moment. And then my normal scruffy bed down there, looking a little bit brown to say the least. Hanging baskets really taking off now with the creme brulee and cherry caramel. So yeah, worth considering as a hanging basket plant. As for the rest, look at my agapanthus. They are starting to flower a couple of weeks earlier than normal, but despite being brutally treated in the spring, we have some flowers. The rest is looking fairly dry, I have to say. Potted up my biddens because it's a bit of a thug otherwise. That's just starting to come into flower. Okay, everything's looking fairly sparse at the minute. We've had a good old weed out, so it just looks bare now. Some things have been unearthed, which are rather nice, such as this Electrum. That's rather nice, and then the blue bog sage just there, the tansy just here. So yeah, good old perennials. Let's have a look at the annuals though, see how they've fared. Amazingly, the Daucus is still just about alright actually. The zinnias are starting to flower, and I just noticed a little patch of self-seeded amaranthus. Snapdragon, apple blossom, helichrysum. I've just given them a bit, I've just cut some of those for drying yesterday. More helichrysum. Again, I've cut a lot of those, so it's not looking very floriferous. Melope, definitely gone past it, but what I was going to do was collect some of the seeds. Can you see them in there? So I'm going to collect a load of those and give Melope a better go next year. lots of seed pods on here that I can make use of. None of this has had any irrigation, so yeah, it is suffering, but that's life. You can't, if you start, you've just got to keep going. So hopefully the sunflowers will enjoy it. Sweet pea arch, my goodness, I can smell it from here. The sweet peas are much smaller. Keep cutting them so I can use the trails. Smells amazing still. There we go. So to the right of the sweet pea arch, the nigella, I've probably missed the boat on cutting those, but anyway, they're still there. So this phlox creme brulee is going to be used next weekend in a couple of weddings. It's just yummy. And this was the bed that, it's been irrigated. Everything this around the sweet pea arch does get irrigated, and also it went in earlier. Larkspur, I just keep deadheading, and that's still, it's much shorter, but I've got stems on there. I've let the Ami go to seed, and I might get some little plants popping up, which would be quite handy. I've dried tons of it already, so I don't need to cut this as well. Moving round to the other side of the sweet pea arch, trying to avoid the sun. Cosmos looking grand. Half a bed of Purity and a half a bed of Dazzler, I think. The zinnias are now flowering here. Just started flowering. This is Mammoth, and at the other end I've got Queen Red Lime. Let's have a look. So the Mammoth are mixed colours. Queen Red Lime is really lovely. And then beside those, Bells of Ireland are really getting usable now. And then the Monarda, likewise, I'll be able to start cutting that very, very soon. The Amobium alatum needs a bit of a trim back so that, yeah, it's just got ahead of me a little bit. And then the new growth I'll be able to cut for drying. Rudbeckia Cherry Brandy. And then I've got a couple more Rudbeckia, which I think are Sahara, snuck in here. Actually, and this could be Cherokee Sunset actually here, not quite sure. Okay, so through the sweet pea arch. And look at the gorgeous hardy clematis. I'm going to call it red velvet. Shame the light isn't better. It's beautiful. Right, so sunflowers now starting to come into their own. Loving this weather. I've got a bed of Scabiosa. I have just done a load of deadheading, so it's looking pretty unimpressive, but only mainly because I've just done a load of deadheading. Last of the alliums over there, and a little bit of Nicotiana. I want to call that Tinkerbell, but I might be wrong. And on the other side, the Status, I've just cut a load of the yellow to dry, and some of the purple as well. And then hopefully there'll be some regrowth while I'm away. This is quite an interesting plant, Petrinia scabiosa I want to call it. Golden mace, I believe. And I've got some acroclinium, which are diddy but great for drying. And some more scabiosa here, summer fruits. Again, I've
deadheaded a load of these, but they're sort of pinks and reds and dark ones. Raspberries, autumn raspberries, so I could use those for foliage, but I don't really have the need to now. Last of the snapdragons, well, we've got some regrowth from the autumn sown snapdragons, and there's another bed of cosmos here, which is a bit on the dry side to say the least, but this is Cosmos Daydream. How are the perennials faring? Well, Achillea is still looking really good. And then we've got some Verbena, Bonoriensis, a little patch of sea lavender, which could do with cutting for drying. On the other side, the Laspi, which is great for foliage. A little patch of pink larkspur, a little patch of echinacea, a little patch of phlox, astrantias past it, golden mace on the right there, what am I saying? Achillea tarmica on the right there, the Gypsophila paniculata, really finding that useful right now. The gooseneck loosestrife is hanging on in there despite the hot weather. Echinops, beautiful as well. We've trimmed back a few things hoping for a second flush, so the Shasta daisy has been trimmed back there. And on the floor, I've just taken out my biennials have been transplanted, and to make sure they don't overheat in the greenhouse while I'm away, I've just put them in the shade on the north facing side. And I've got neighbours to just check on the water, check that they're being watered okay. In the little greenhouse, the pelargonium, I've managed to get the netting in, and that is now growing up nicely through that. And that does have a little timed irrigation on it, so I don't need to worry about that. Now for the big greenhouse. So the birds keep coming in here to look for some water. I've put out various water receptacles for the wildlife, but yeah, they've kind of found their way in here, so hence a bit of a mess, but yeah, things are doing all right in here. Stuff on the right hand side could do with a bit of support. The zinnias are rather loving the heat. I've popped in a couple of dahlias just to see what happens. And yeah, more zinnias and sunflowers. Interesting to see how they do too. So I've still got quite a lot of ammi hanging up to dry in the shed here. Could have done with taking it down before I go away, but I haven't had time, so it's just going to have to stay there. Let's have a look at the orchard. Okay. So I'm making a beeline for the dahlias because they have really changed since last month's tour. So really starting to get some height in there now. So they had a real Chelsea chop in June with my Seed to Vase group. But hopefully now we're reaping the benefits. All sorts of different colours, shapes and sizes. Still a couple that are looking a bit iffy, which definitely need to be chucked next year. I'll still give them the benefit of the doubt for the moment. All sorts of gorgeous ones. This is Wizard of Oz. This is Linda's Baby. Got a labyrinth there. Got quite a lot of white. And the Evelyn is a gorgeous one too. And then behind them, we've got 2 half beds of scabiosa, white and lilac, some cosmos, soteria grass, clary sage, cynoglossum's gone to seed at the top left there, and then there's still a few cornflowers as well. Let's have a closer look at the annuals. So again, I've deadheaded like crazy so that these are perfect for cutting this week in my absence. A few spare cosmos. Again, it would have, you know, really benefited from some watering here, but I just have not got the time, and there's no irrigation here. Frosted explosion has really exploded. So yeah, amazing. And here's the cornflowers, which I used quite a lot of last week. So yeah, it's had a little bit of a rejuvenation. And here's the cynoglossum, and I'm purposefully waiting for that to go to seed so I can save the seed. A little bit has come back, look, it's a really lovely blue flower. Also comes in pink. Some of the seeds have also, yeah, they're kind of like ready to harvest, but I'm going away. And finally, snapdragons. I've cut back most of them, hoping that I'll have a bit of a second flush when I come back, maybe. Nice pink status here. A few more snapdragons and the amaranthus. We've got viridis here, and then we've got velvet curtains. And just look at these cardoons. They are enormous. Bees go wild for them. So here we are with various things that I've cut for drying before I go away. Hanging up all over the place. Hello, it's the 12th of August. I'm back from holiday. I've been back a few days. It has been very, very hot this week, and I've had a bit of catching up to do, lots of deadheading. The garden hasn't recovered as well as I thought it would, but hey ho, life goes on, and yeah, just got to keep going really. Dahlias are about a foot shorter than they normally would be behind me. Look forward to catching up with you in September, in a few weeks' time.